Hello, everyone. I'm Suraj. Today we are going to explain about understanding about the difference between where, let, and const. Okay, so let's start with first where. So where is basically this is the old way. This is the old way before ES6. So where is basically where is used before ES6. They have some key features. They have functional scope. This is functional scope can be redeclare. This can be redeclare and can be update. Hosted with undefined. Example we can take where x is equal to 20. Then we have also assigned where x is equal to 30 and x is equal to 40. These all are allowed. Okay. And let's take example of functional scope. Functional scope example. So let's take function test of where a is equal to 20 and close it. And if we access outside of this go error, this show error not defined, not accessible. Out, outside scope, outside of function. This is the example of this. Okay, function is scoped. Okay, so let's take what is the problem with where. So it ignore the block scope. So basically the major problem is it is basically ignore the block scope. Let's take an example. If true, then where y is equal to 30. Scope close, and if we try to access, it is return 30. 30 is accessible. These are accessible outside of block. They have major issues they've introduced. can we cause bugs? This is there is a problem. Okay, so let's come with the where is completed. Let's talk about the let. This is a modern way, starting with ES6. Okay, so the let introduced in ES6. They have some key feature like they have block scope, can be redeclare in same scope. It cannot be redeclare in block scope, same scope, can be update and hosted will not initialize, hosted but not initialize. Temporal dead zone. Let's say example. If we use let a is equal to 10 and then we use a is equal to 20, then it is allowed. Okay, but if we use let a is equal to 30, they show error, cannot read declare. Okay, so let's take some block scope example. Okay, so let's take some code have if true open close bracket close. If you use let a is equal to 20, a is equal to 10 and close the block. And after we can try to access of, outside of the block like console.log and a. This show error show. This is the example of block scope. This is safer than where. Okay, so let's talk about the constant variable. These have constant variable. In ES6, const is also a block variable. They have some key features like they have block scope, they have block scope and cannot be redeclared, cannot be updated, and it must be initialized at declaration. Declaration. This is the rule. Example. Const pi is equal to 3.14. Then if we use the again, if we use assign pi is equal to 3.145, this show error. This show error. Okay. So important we take. Important of const. For object and array, you cannot reassign. You cannot reassign, but you can modify properties. This is happened. Let's take example. Const user is equal to Suraj, and let's take variable as an object. Name is Suraj. Variable close it, and we can do user dot name equal to, it is doable. Okay. Only reference is constant, not object constant. Not object. Not object content is constant. Okay. So let's talk about the hosting differs. Difference. All these are hosted. All three hosted. Hosted. But where it is initialized, as undefined. Let and const not initialized. It basically not initialized. They have temporal dead zone. Okay, let's take an example. If you use console.log of x, this is return undefined. and where a is equal to 10. But if we use console.log a and after we use they directly show error. Okay, so let's take some quick comparison. Let's take some quick comparison. Where is functional scope? Can read, can redeclare, can update, hosted with undefined. Undefined. Okay, let's talk about the let. It is block scoped, cannot redeclare, can update, and safer than where. Let's have const. It is block scope, cannot redeclare, cannot update. Best for constants. Okay, so let's take some best practices. In modern JavaScript, use const by default and use let when value need to change. Okay, avoid where. Okay, so let's take some latest example. So where is a functional scope? Where is generally functional scoped and can be redeclared. Let is block scope. Cannot redeclare. In same scope. Const is block scope. Cannot be reinitialized and cannot be reinitialized after cannot be reassigned after initialize. So let's take some final advice. Prefer const, then let. Avoid where in modern application. That is about. Okay, so let's just rephrase it. So we're talking about where, let, and const. So where is old way or before ES6. Where is used before ES6. Key feature are functional scope. Can we redeclare? Can we update? Hosted within, hosted with undefined. Example: where is x? Where x is equal to 20. We can do where x is 30. And also we can do where x is 40. All are allowed. Let's talk about the functional scope example. Function test where a is equal to 30, and if we access outside of function console log a, they have show error not accessible outside the function. Problem with where it ignore the block scope. Like if you use a block if true, if condition inside block where y is equal to 30, then we access to outside of scope block scope console.log y. It is accessible outside the block. Second, let is modern way in ES2. Let is introduced in ES6. Key feature is block scoped, cannot be re-declared in same scope, can be updated, hosted but not initialized, temporal dead zone. Example: let a is equal to 10, a is equal to 20 are allowed, but let a is equal to 30 not allowed. Error say cannot be redeclared. Let's say block scope example. If true, let a is equal to 10, and if we try after block scope console log a, they have error show. This is safer than where. Let's talk about the const. They have constant variable in ES6. Const is also a block variable. Key feature have block scoped, cannot be redeclared, cannot be updated. It must be initialized at declaration. Example: we take const pi is equal to 3.14. If we assign the value again, they are not. They show error. Let's take some important part. For object and array, you cannot reassign, but you can modify the properties. Example: const user object name is Suraj. We can change user.name Kumar is allowed. Only reference is constant, not object. It have hosting difference. All threes are hosted, but were initialized as undefined. Let and cost initialized as a temporal dead zone. Example: console log x. They show undefined. After we use where a is equal to 10 and console log a, if we use let, they show error. Let's take quick comparison. Where is functional scoped? Can we redeclare? Can we update? Hosted with undefined. Let is block scoped. Cannot redeclare. Can we update? And safer than where. Const is block scope. Cannot be redeclared. Cannot be updated. Best for constant. Best practice in modern JavaScript: use const by default. Use let when need to change. Avoid where. Where is a function component. Cannot be redeclared. Can we redeclare? Let is block scope. Cannot be redeclared in same scope. Const is block scope and cannot be reassigned after initialize. Finalize prefer const, then let. Avoid where in modern application. That is it about.